Before talking about everything that went down on this week's Friday Night SmackDown, let's go ahead and round up all those latest WWE and AEW news. Turn on those notifications to never miss the wrestling news coverage, and let's get into it. Some massive reports to end this week, one of those being in regards to Fox and WWE's relationship, which doesn't seem to be going that well, as Fox seems to be disappointed with the viewership that SmackDown has been bringing. A source admitted to Fightful that Fox was disappointed with WWE's viewership compared to what they were expecting when they made the deal to bring them onto the network. When Fox first made the deal with WWE, Meltzer reported at that time that the network was expecting somewhere around 3.3 million viewers. WWE drew 3.9 million viewers for their debut episode, which ended up featuring The Rock, but as we know, they have not come close to that number ever since, as they usually hover somewhere around the 2 million viewers. Another thing that Fox is reportedly not thrilled about is with SmackDown being used to promote another service, a competition of Fox Network. Peacock is owned by NBC Universal, but Fox has their own streaming services that they will rather promote, but WWE promotes Peacock since that is the service that hosts their pay-per-view events, and at this point, as we know, has the licensing for everything in the WWE network. To make this even worse, Vince McMahon's scripted series, The United States vs. Vince McMahon, will apparently portray the Fox owner, Murdoch, in a negative light. That is because back then, Murdoch purchased the New York Post, which regularly took shots at Vince McMahon and WWE, with a lot of catchy headlines in the newspaper that ultimately led the FBI and US Attorney Office to pursue Vince McMahon, getting him indicted for steroid distribution. That is quite a history right there with the current Fox owner, and it's crazy how things are just coming back around. There's a lot more details in regards to this, but continuing with this full report, a WWE source claimed to Fightful that WWE's relationship between the two families is one of quote-unquote great respect. Despite what went down, Vince McMahon and WWE president Nick Khan reportedly met with Fox Sports CEO and head of production, and the meeting was said to be productive from WWE's end. Some of the things that WWE are doing to try to quote-unquote appease Fox is even have SmackDown be the brand to have their first LA show rather than Monday Night Raw. That is because Fox Sports headquarters is in Los Angeles. A bit ridiculous, but that seems to be some of the things that WWE are trying to do to make Fox happy. We know that they weren't too thrilled when CM Punk showed up on AEW, and we heard the reports from the Wrestling Observer Radio indicating that Fox wasn't too happy about WWE not trying harder to sign CM Punk, to the point where they even offered to help meet the price tag needed to sign him. How is WWE gonna turn things around and get back to a 3.0 viewership rating? I have no idea. I just don't see that happening for any company right now, as we are just getting out of that pandemic era. But let's see what type of changes WWE tries to do and how they try to make Fox happy. This also leads me to believe that Roman Reigns is definitely staying on Fox Network on SmackDown, as without a doubt he is the one moving that needle for WWE right now. Talking about the draft, there have been a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation that WWE will be making some changes to the brand split rules. One of those rumors was that they will probably be featuring a lot of top superstars on both brands instead of making it more exclusive. And according to new reports from WrestlingNews.co, that doesn't seem to be the case. The speculation at the time was if WWE went forward with this change, then the likes of Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, and other top superstars will appear on both Raw and SmackDown as a way to boost the ratings. But according to their sources alongside the Wrestling Observer newsletter, they're being told that top superstars appearing on both brands is not a long-term strategy, it's not even a short-term strategy. WWE. And although things could change because it is the WWE, it is being emphasized that this wasn't something they were planning on regularly doing. So once we get the draft, it likely will not continue. Onto some quick news, MVP provided an update on when he will be back to WWE, stating the following: I appreciate the well wishes and positive energy. We're going to get through this and hopefully I'll be back on Monday Night Raw in 4 to 6 weeks. So he is not going to be missing a great deal of time. It looks like WWE is fully committed to the new version of Keith Lee, as before SmackDown this week he ended up competing in a dark match and was once again referred to as Keith Bearcat Lee. He has been winning squash matches over the last few weeks as WWE is trying to tweak his character. So it looks like WWE is really not kidding with this. This is supposed to be Keith Lee character makeover. He is growing some facial hair right now, and all of this will ultimately add to the incoming heel turn. Something I'm very much excited, and hopefully we get to see it next week. Despite not being 90 days since his WWE release, there is a lot of speculation that Bray Wyatt would debut for AEW next week in Rochester, New York, which is Brody Lee's hometown. The big question here is whether or not WWE granted Bray Wyatt a waiver to get out of his 90-day non-compete clause, which is a possibility. So even though it hasn't been 90 days, do watch out for Bray Wyatt possibly showing up on AEW next week. They're really trying to make it happen. As for what went down on this week's SmackDown, we had Bianca Belair starting off the show hitting the KOD on Becky Lynch. Intercontinental Champion King Nakamura defeated Apollo Crews. Zelina Vega defeated Liv Morgan, and you will think that because Liv Morgan has a matchup at the pay-per-view this weekend, that they will have her win here. But hey, miracles could happen, and they finally had Zelina Vega win a match. Happy Corbin debuted Happy Talk, which led to Kevin Owens coming out, but then Kevin Owens was attacked by the returning Rick Moss, who we haven't seen in quite a bit, but we do know that this was one of the superstars that Vince McMahon was very interested in. We had Nikki, almost a superhero, defeating Natalya. Naomi came out and spit some fire to Sonya Deville, calling her out and even challenging her to a match. Sonya Deville then had security escort Naomi from the ring, and I actually can't wait for Naomi and Sonya to go at it. This was a really good promo back and forth between them. We had Roman Reigns defeating Montez Ford in an awesome main event. Then at the end, the Demon King came out to take out the Usos and Roman, and to get the last laugh heading into this weekend's Extreme Rules pay-per-view, which by the way we will be doing a watch along, so make sure you guys drop us a follow. As for AEW Rampage, that was a phenomenal show with CM Punk defeating Powerhouse Hobbs, the Super Clique defeating Christian Cage and Jurassic Express, Men of the Year Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky defeating Chris Jericho and Jake Hager, Lucha Bros Santana and Ortiz defeating Private Party, Penelope Ford defeating Anna Jay, and for the big main event, we had Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston defeating Suzuki and Lance Archer. So those are the quick results for SmackDown and AEW Rampage, and also of course all the latest wrestling news. If you guys want to continue being up to date, make sure to hit those notifications and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you on the next one, so stay savage.